Bienvenue dans le vestiaire avec Nicolas St-Pierre.
Drake Batterson jouera son 400e match en carrière et les Sénateurs pourraient terminer le mois d'octobre avec 6 victoires, chose qu'ils n'ont pas réussi à accomplir depuis la saison 2011-2012. Il y a un lien à faire avec cette année-là et notre prochain invité parce que ça a été la première année là où il a pris les rênes de la formation ottavienne. C'est avec un grand plaisir qu'on parle avec l'ancien coach des Sénateurs, M. Paul Maclean. Ça faisait longtemps que je voulais lui parler, puis là maintenant je peux lui dire un gros bonjour. First of all, coach, after all these years, I'm going to say something. You were and you're still my favorite coach that I ever had to meet during my career.
Well, Nicholas, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. I think we had some very pleasant conversations for the most part over the time that I was with the Ottawa Senators, and you were always professional, and that makes it real easy when someone like me has to go out there and talk to you all the time. So I really appreciate you for the way you treated me as well.
How's life treating you these days?
Things have changed a little bit, but being a grandpa has been a really life-changing type of thing for me. I have 5 grandchildren. 2 of them are here in Halifax, with a couple of ways away. They're 2 girls, and I have 3 grandsons. 2 of them are in Syracuse, New York, with my son there, and I have another son in Calgary, Alberta, who has another grandson there. So my wife Sharon and I are really enjoying being grandparents, and we kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into that last week by going to Ottawa. TSN asked me to go on and do some work for them, and I enjoyed that, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, you're doing a pretty good job so far, so keep going. Last year that you were behind a bench in the show was 21-22 with the Toronto Maple Leafs. How much do you miss the game? Do you actually miss the game, being in the game?
I think yes, you miss being in the game. What you don't miss about the game now is the amount of work that you have to do, and the flying, all the travel that's involved in it now, especially a year like this with it being an Olympic year and it's all piled together. But you miss the game, you miss being there, being in the action, being on the bench, arguing with referees and talking stuff out with players, and just that everyday thing that's part of hockey. But the travel and the amount of work that goes into it to do it right, is a lot. I'm not saying that I wouldn't invite that type of work again, but right now I haven't done it for quite some time, so it's not something that is on my radar right now to say that I need to go to do that.
You were here in the capital for your work with TSN, and you had a chance to see actually pretty close the performance of the Senators this edition. I was wondering, do you see similarities between the team that you coach here in Ottawa and today's edition of the Senators?
Well, I think there's always some similarities between players. I feel that when I first got to the job with Ottawa, I think there were better veterans, or more established veterans would be a better term, with Daniel Alfredson, Jason Spezza, Milan Mahalik, Sergei Gonchar, Chris Phillips, Chris Neal. Like, those were guys that were really established bona fide NHL players. I think the group now still has people working towards that. Claude Giroux would be one of those type of guys right now, but I think everybody else is not really at that level. But from the exciting part of when I went to Ottawa was the young players you have a chance to work with, which they have multitude of in Ottawa right now, which makes it a really exciting team to watch. Like, we had Eric Carlson coming in, Jared Cowan coming in, Zach Smith came in, Zetterberg came in, not Zetterberg, I'm sorry. The kid.
I know who you're talking about.
Mark Stone was coming in. Mike Hoffman was coming in. Silverberg's the guy.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of good young players coming in. But the exciting guy was Eric Carlson, and what could we do with Eric to make him a way better player? He's only under 6 foot. He's a dynamic skater. He's a dynamic passer and shooter of the puck, but not a great big body, not a big frame that can be able to handle people in a one-on-one. So we tried to come up with ways that we can make him, play the game, make it easier, and make him a player for us. And obviously, with the work that he put in and the time that Alfie put in with him and we put in, he turned into a Norris Trophy winner. Now, is Jake Sanderson like that? He's pretty close.
Yeah,
he can get up and go. He's a bigger man. He can sustain maybe that physicality a little bit better than Eric could have, but his skating ability and his willingness to take pucks up the ice, take pucks to the net is certainly a lot like what Eric would try to do, and that gives you a lot of excitement in your dimension. Timmy Stützle is a young player that's trying to find his way. I think when I was up in Ottawa, I seemed like he's trying to do a little too much with Brady Tkachuk out. He's not Brady Tkachuk. He has to be Tim Stützle. It's hard enough to be who you are trying to be somebody else. But it seems like he's settled down a little bit in the last couple of games and is finding his game within the team's game, which is also good. But can he be the Jason Spezza dominant player, big-time center down the ice? We'll see how that goes. Is Drake Batherson going to be Daniel Alfredsson? I don't know. Daniel's a pretty good player, won the Calder Trophy. It's you're going around. But there's a lot of good pieces like you like to see with the Senators. And right now, and they just have to keep growing. They keep up believing it. The hardest thing is to keep believing in one another and take the next day as it comes. Take the next day. Don't be worried about yesterday or worry about 2 days or anywhere down the road. Just stay today. Worry about today, and then we'll figure tomorrow when we get there. But just take care of today, and that's a hard process for young players. Sometimes they get looking too far down the road or too far back down the road. Staying present is a hard thing to do.
Coach, during the season 11-12 and 12-13 is the last two seasons where the Senators went back-to-back in the playoffs. That was under your helm. We always thought that team had a lot of potential, but unfortunately there was always some factors that made things not going your way. If you'd had time, if you had the potential or the chance to go back in time, is there anything that you would have liked to do something different?
With the team at that time, I would like them not to have a lockout. That would have been that would have helped everybody a lot, not just the Ottawa Senators. Yeah. But even the year before that, we had to have the chance to continue to grow with those players would have been something that I would have appreciated. Having an opportunity to fail a little bit and then have an opportunity to bring it back, type of thing. But that's not the way the game works. I think the team that we had was in those 2 years were great teams, and they were on their way to being real good teams, which it showed. A year and a half later, they went to the Eastern Final against Pittsburgh. So obviously there was a lot of good there in the team, and it would have been nice to had a part of it. You have a little bit of a part of it because it kind of started when we were there. But at the same time, you're very happy for those players to see them have that kind of success and have that opportunity to play that far in the playoffs. And that's the type of thing that makes you want to keep doing it. And that's what drives you to win Stanley Cups.
Coach, before being a coach, you were a player. And I was always wondering, what was your approach as a coach? Because I always felt that you always kept yourself pretty close to the game as a player. And when I talked to you, I remember a very particular day in Montreal where I sensed that you were more a player than a coach at that moment. Was it hard for you to separate yourself, the player, from the coach? Was there always a part of that player that was still there the way you were coaching?
Well, I think player's the best job in the game. So I think we always want to play. We always feel, I'd like to be out there and so I can make a difference. I can make that play, or I can put that one in, or I can do this or that. But at the same time, you have to realize your age and shape and all those other things that go into. But yeah, I think when you're the head coach and you're involved in it, you're invested in it. It's important to you. You take a lot of pride in it, and you want to be out there and be a part of it. And I think that especially when you're playing in historic buildings like the Bell Center against the Montreal Canadiens or Maple Leaf Gardens against the Leafs, and those historic original six teams. Anytime you're in any kind of a situation like that, you want to put your best foot forward and show that your group is going to be able to compete and that you're going to come out on top.
There's a lot of speculation at the end as to the way you left and all that, and I'm not trying to stir the pot, but I wanted to know from you, how would you describe your relationship with Eric? And is it right to say that maybe we gave the helm to this team a little too early, and that brought where we had to see the story ending between Karlsson and the Ottawa Senators?
Well, Eric's is a heck of a player. Still is a good. I mean, is he a Hall of Famer? Got a couple of Norris trophies, 2 or 3 of them, I guess. He hasn't yet won a Stanley Cup. Is he a Hall of Famer? There'll be discussion about that down the road. But Eric was a generational player for the Ottawa Senators, and when he was in his prime, there was nobody better in the league. He was the best by far. The sad part about, I think, the Eric's story, I felt that I got along with Eric. Eric and I had debates and arguments and talked about the game and had different outlooks of the game. But I still feel that Eric was a good player for me, and I have no qualms about the relationship that I had with him. I think the relationship that damaged Eric more than any is when Alfie left. When Daniel Alfredsson left to go to the Red Wings and left, that was a big blow for Erik Karlsson, and that was a big blow for me too, because Daniel was a really steadying influence on Eric, and Eric really looked up to him and paid attention when Daniel was talking. He always paid attention and followed along with what Daniel thought was the best thing for the team. And when Daniel was gone, that wasn't there anymore. And Jason Spezza and Chris Phillips and Craig Anderson, everybody tried to be that guy to take over, but nobody can take over for Daniel in those situations. And I think that was, if anything, that was the start of Eric's exit out of Ottawa was the day that Daniel left. That was something that I think Eric really took to heart, and it hurt him a lot.
I could talk to you for an hour, but we're going to run out of time. But before I let you go, are we talking about another year with the playoffs for the Senators? Do they have enough to repeat what they achieved last year? Well,
I think with the way the Atlantic Division is this year, there's so much going on with the teams that were, and they're one of them. The injuries to the Florida Panthers, the aging of the Tampa Bay, the way the Maple Leafs are playing right now, and the changes to their team, and how it's in the Red Wings, how good the Red Wings are playing, and Buffalo has a bunch of young players. So I think the division is up for anybody. And like right now, they're dealing with the Brady Tkachuk injury. Like any team, you can't have too many injuries. But you also, right now, they're starting to find their game, and if they can find their game in the next, for now until Christmas time, they're going to put themselves in a good spot. Now, I feel that they're going to be in a good spot at the end of the year. I'm not going to say they're going to win the division or be second or third, but I think if they'd be a little disappointed if they end up in a wild card. But if they're in a wild card, they'll take it, because as long as you're in it, you're in it. So it don't matter if you win it or not. But I think I see the Atlantic Division in all the games that I'm watching that involve those teams. There's some good young teams that are coming up, and somebody is going to knock somebody off. That's what it's all about. Boston is suffering a lot right now, so there's a lot of opportunity there. And are the Senators prepared to do the work? Like, the opportunity is there, but they got to do the work on a daily basis, not get ahead of themselves, not look behind, not look too far ahead, and just make sure they're there every night doing what they have to do and play the game on the right side of the puck for most of the game, like they have been lately. And I think the sky's the limit for what they can do as far as making, or in the Atlantic Division, making the playoffs. Once the playoffs start, it's going to be hard no matter where you are. And you're going to play a tough opponent no matter where you are. Can they win another round? Who knows? Depends on who you're playing and all that kind of stuff. But right now, I'd say it's very positive. In my mind, it's really positive for the Senators, and I'm excited to keep watching them go and grow.
Coach, you just allowed us to tape one of the greatest moments on this show right now. Thank you so much for the time you allowed us. And I'm happy to see that you're looking good. I'm going to see you soon and talk soon, hopefully.
All right. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Coach.
Salut, mon chum.
Salut, mon chum.
Un retour sportif 100% local dans le vestiaire avec Nicolas St-Pierre.